Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, we have, for the first time in a while, a couple new toys. But to go with that, I'm basically going to be simultaneously showing off the new toy and some much needed improvements to a system that's been in the game for a long time, but has never quite worked exactly how I would want. And that is the Scopes system. So let's go ahead and spawn ourselves some happy little sosigs, are knocking into each other and such, and take a look at our first toy. Our first toy is the absolutely classic M40A1. This one brought to us by Ben Kalla, and just look at that sucker. It's got a, because this is the exact configuration that was used, this has a permanently affixed 10x fixed magnification, a scope. It has a 5-round internal magazine, which means, and because of the scope, there's no stripper clips on this, so we actually got to pull this one open and pop 5 rounds into it. Can actually pop a 6th into the chamber if we want. Looks like we got it there. Oop. Pop that safety off, and let's check out these new, significantly more stable scopes. Remember, I have the virtual stock enabled here. Look at that, that's 10x magnification. Look at how much easier that is to hold on target. Boom! Down that wiener goes. Whammo! Wham! It's just a graze. Oh, and that's just a miss. Remember, with bolt actions, there are 2 ways to rack them. There is the manual way. If you haven't used these before or used them in a while, there's the manual way to shoot, where we shoot. We remove our hand from the firing position, grab the bolt, pull it back, pull it up, and so. Or there's the way that we don't release. We just click right on the touchpad or a joystick. You don't have to hold this. You just click and you rotate your controller back and then forward again. I'll turn on my hand visibility so you can see that motion a little better. So are we loaded? Nope. So I'm going to click right on the touchpad and I'm going to pull my controller up and rotate it back, and then rotate it forward again. Blammo! Much faster, but it can take a little more practice to bring it back in alignment with your target. Boom. Let's hide our controller geo again. So that is our beautiful M40. Gorgeous. Gorgeous! Pop that away with a 10x scope that is actually usable. Cool. And then our second one, courtesy of Patrick, this absolutely beautiful piece, is an SV98, which I've put a game point 3x and red dot on just so that we can see how the new, more stable scopes look at a lighter magnification. Rack that sucker. This is a 10-round detachable magazine. Blam. Oh, came a little too far away from the handle. Oh, missed. Beautiful. And we are done. You survived this day. So there we have it. This one's, as you can see, a good deal bulkier. I really like the way it sits. Honestly, I love using this in the sort of like scout scope kind of configuration where you've got 3x pulled much closer back towards your eye and whatever sort of red dot you like Makes it really nice and easy to pull up right into engagement. Like so, just right up. Let's actually aim at a target. Boom. Beautiful. So there you have it. There are our two new toys, and as I said, essentially one giant toy, in that scopes past about 3x magnification are actually usable in a freestanding context. Just make sure you have the virtual stock enabled, because that lends you a whole bunch of extra stability. I guess he didn't survive this time. Cool, and then along with that, there have been some other major graphical improvements, thanks to Arthur, who is a longtime colleague, a buddy of mine, who is responsible for the scopes, actually, and a number of other sort of VFX things in the game, that we finally have fixed bloom. Some of you may have noticed that especially in the right eye, in say the release build of H3 right now, the bloom kind of skews to the side and looks a little unusual. The reason for that has to do with basically just the buffer having an incorrectly computed size and a bunch of other little things. You will now notice on all of our things that are bright and glowy, like these, it actually looks correct comparing the left eye to the right eye. Obviously, I can't show that easily in video, but any of you who play the game should immediately notice the difference, and just the bloom in general feels a little more diffused and a lot less shrill. So really, really, you can see it looks even better when we say, I don't know, let's pick something that has some really prominent tracers in it. Like our 50. Can pull out our 8x32 scope on this, knock that down to 8. Like so. If we just fire into the ground, just notice how the bloom looks a lot better, a lot more symmetrical, i.e. just straight up not broken. Delightful. Delightful. Also, just listen to those gorgeous casing impact sounds. It's something Patrick has been working on all throughout this alpha cycle. It's just adding in new types of sounds for objects colliding into each other, the various types of brass. You can really hear the difference. Etc. Slowly coming along and just adding so much more physicality to the sound of everything. Wonderful. Wonderful. Cool. So let us pop out of VR now. There's a bunch of things to talk about in terms of other things that I'm working on. Then I'm going to show some little shots of footage, as well as some other sort of events in the H3 community.
Yo! So, out of VR, let's talk about what else is going on. There's actually a whole bunch of things going on in parallel with the game. Obviously, I'm still working through this alpha cycle in terms of finishing the material and damage migration. There were, of course, a ton of things that I missed last week, and those of you who have been helping me find bugs, documenting exactly how they're happening, and giving me solid repro cases, thank you so much. They've been tremendously helpful. I got about a dozen and a half sort of like major systemic bugs or things that were missing taken care of this past week. All the rocket launchers and explosives that weren't working should work now. Some occlusion culling bugs, some lighting bugs. The paper target bullet display should work again. The auto rotation of quick belt slots with flashlights that shouldn't rotate is fixed. Yeah, you can read the full changelog, which is on the various sorts of both the Steam forum post and the Reddit announcement post for this devlog. In addition to that, and then in addition to things getting sort of physical definitions, a couple minor UX changes. The visible grab point for ladders in containment, which thus far has been this sort of blue block through the whole ladder, which is a little bright for some people on certain HMDs and lighting situations. I have essentially made it so that that only applies to visually to the sort of vertical rungs of the ladder, so that should help a bunch. Damage and containment, I'm still trying to get everything working. I don't think 100% of the entities all do damage correctly just yet, but they will very soon. Meat Machine bots got their laser web, both they actually can fire again, but they also got their sort of like laser sounds back for those weapons, and you have an option for slow or fast bullets in that scene for those old bots. Eventually those are probably going to be replaced with SOSIGs, but for now they're functional in that form, again, for those of you who like to fight in an outdoor context. So yeah, so beyond that, beyond our sort of like our ongoing bug work, the things that I've continued to work on are the ballistic system, the material sort of impact definition part system, and getting just the SOSIGs working better. And so one of the parts of that process, they fight really well indoors. That's been proven by the Proving Ground sort of team fight area. But I need to make sure that they can fight intelligently in a larger space. So I have been working on, so those of you who've been watching my Twitch stream know about this outdoor scene. I grabbed myself a cute little asset pack kit off the Unity asset store, and I'm making a sort of like bright but very large outdoor scene that I've called Shooty Streets. That right now it's just a testing scene. It isn't a game mode yet. I don't exactly know how any sort of macro structure or goal like that will eventually be set up when it's in the game. But for now, I'm just making sure that SOSIGs, whether they're at a 20-meter engagement range, a 50-meter engagement range, 100, 200, 300, can react intelligently, they can prioritize targets correctly, and that it's just an interesting fight that's happening. Along with trying to sort of teach them new navigational tricks, like being able to vault over certain types of obstructions, climb up onto building rooftops. That's still a work in progress. But yeah, so this is these shots are just a little bit of sort of in-editor capture of my tests with that. If you think this looks cool and want to follow along with it being developed, I'm streaming this part of the game's development on Twitch, where I tend to show things that are the least amount done, the furthest out from actually getting into even an alpha build of the game, as I tweak, bug test, performance test, etc. So that's another thing that's going on. Something else that's absolutely sweet that has happened in our H3 community is that a VR app called Vreal has added support for H3. Vreal is basically like a content production application. You can film, quote unquote, or record your play experience in a VR game. And it's not capturing video as much as it's capturing all of the game state, so that you can actually jump back in, set up cameras, take pictures, view it from other angles, and do that with other groups of people. And so the first build, sort of first support build has been added. It's running the release build of H3, so you will need to make sure that you are off the alpha and back on update 58. Make sure to verify your game cache when you do that switch back, because sometimes it can glitch out. If you want to run it, Vreal is free. I hardly any of you who love making YouTube videos, if you making sweet shots, kicking ass at various sorts of modes, or just memeing, it's a really neat application for it, and I must admit part of me is thinking about its potential in terms of learning materials, honestly, for the game. So yeah, so definitely give that a shot. There's a whole bunch of cute things you can do with it, and I'm curious to see what the community ends up doing in playing around with it. So yeah, I think so we got that. Let's double check. Yeah, so what is coming up this next week? Well, basically my goal is to make this next week the last alpha in this alpha series. I'm going to be focused on sort of final bug testing and getting the other scenes that are currently disabled back up and running, and bringing the item spawner vault back finally. I think I've finally figured out how I want that data structure and all the sort of like checks and guards for it to work. So I'm going to be bringing that back. Spooky 45 as a scene is going to remain off probably until Halloween, because I'm going to change some things up on it. But yes, I will be next week bringing back the meat grinder scene and the breaching scene, which is going to get a little bit of a cleanup. So I hope you are excited about that. Whew! So that about does it for this week. Please, those of you who have been dutifully helping me out, finding bugs, reporting them, please continue doing so this week. If you find anything new that is just busted or stuff that I have forgotten, please post it in exactly one spot. That is the Steam Community Forum bug report section. Don't post bugs to Reddit. Don't post bugs to the Discord. Don't post bugs to YouTube comments. It will be easier for me to keep track of it all in one spot. Put it in the Steam Community bug report section for now. And thank you very, very much. So yeah, so I hope you all have a fun weekend playing around with these retuned and far better functioning scopes and our 2 new bolt action toys. And I will see you on my Twitch stream this week. Peace.